Well, good morning. Coming to you from California. John Rodriguez with iFinance Mortgage. And here we are to welcome on our podcast today Pam and EJ from the Joe team, all the way from sunny Lakeland, Florida, representing the La Rosa Realty Prestige team. We're just so blessed to have you with us this morning.
Blessed to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Of course, of course. And, as we were talking about before, there's so many good things happening in the real estate field, the lending field, helping new families find their American dream of home ownership. And today's podcast is entitled The Mindset of a Champion. What sets both of you apart? And so we're going to get to know you a little bit better today. And then we're going to blast this all over social media so people in even my sphere of influence will be able to get to know you a little bit better. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Beautiful. Well, let's launch into it. Just to get to know you a little bit better, Pam and EJ, what brought you into the real estate business?
Go ahead, sweetie.
I would say for us, the pivotal moment was when we bought our first home in Orlando. Actually, we had our twin girls. They were about one when we tried to buy our first home.
Right.
And we were working with a realtor, but we came across a for sale by owner. We stopped in and we were a week away from closing.
Yeah.
But we did not have the right lender. I'll just put it out there. I don't know if I can say
we won't mention the company.
How else do you say it?
Company.
Big bank.
It's a big bank.
Yeah.
And the week, I want to say we were supposed to close on a Monday. That Friday, they told us that the appraisal was going to come in low because there was an addition on the home that they weren't going to count it for. And so we would have need to have come up with an additional.
What about 9 or 10,000, additional that we would have had to come up with.
A lot
for us at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of closing costs and things like that. So that home fell through. And I want to say at the time the price point was $160 for a 4-bedroom with a water view in Orlando. And we thought that was just like the top of the budget. Like we were like, oh my goodness, we're back now.
We've arrived.
So that fell through and we told the realtor, I'm sorry, we're just so heartbroken. And we walked away and we just said, we're going to just wait till next year and save up more money and things of that nature. And then he kind of lost touch with each other. But then I saw a property on like Trulia or Zillow.
Right.
And I think I liked it, but that realtor continued to call us. And I just spoke to her and I said, hey, we're going to just wait because I would like to have this amount saved and this. And then she educated me on the cost of waiting. Ooh. And it was at that moment, a light bulb came on like, oh, that what she said made sense to me. I was receptive, but what she said made sense. And I explained that to my husband. I was like, we actually do need to go buy a house because as I went back and looked at the history of homes and the price point from then, 160 to at that current time, now it jumped up to maybe 240 was the house we ended up settling on with her. We ended up buying a new construction for 248. And we still thought we were at the top of our budget. Oh my God, what are we doing?
Right.
But it was because of the education she provided that it was like, oh, okay, yeah. And from that moment forward, it was just kind of like the two different experiences led me to say, hey, I would want to be that realtor for someone so that they don't lose their home. Not to say that our previous realtor had anything to do with us losing that home, but there was a element of education that I felt was very pivotal in us making that next step. It was such a scary step for us, but she kind of guided us through it and informed us along the way that made us feel comfortable and confident. And we feel like a lot of people like in our sphere did not have that knowledge. Like some of our parents might still be renters,
Yeah.
So it was important for us to say, hey, we want to give back to our sphere and our family and our community,
Yep.
and make sure that they are aware that they too can be homeowners. And yes, it is a scary step, but with people that you can trust,
Right.
we'll guide you through it,
Right.
and we'll inform you along the way so you can make informed decisions.
Yep.
And that's kind of what has
Got us started.
spearheaded the whole thing. It wasn't really a money grab for us. It was a great time in the market too, but at the time I was a stay-at-home mom, because then we had baby number 3.
Oh boy,
We
here we
moved
go.
the house. Yeah, we moved in with twins. They were 2, and a year later we had baby girl number 3. So
2015.
I decided to just stay
Wow.
home, and at that point we I got into real estate. It was like my side hustle at the time, while I could take my girls with me on showings
Sure.
and things like that. And it was just a great venture, but it grew into more than I thought it would.
Right. So
that's kind of what started it.
That's our initial story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And
then I
so
drove.
yeah, I was going to say, Joe, what were you doing during this time while she was starting up the real estate side?
So it was perfect. It was perfect symmetry because I was in the property management field already.
Oh, yeah.
So I was already in the property management by the bed lease industry in Orlando, and specifically in student housing. So around that time, I worked at a almost 3,000 bed property,
Wow.
and then also another 1,000 bed property in the Orlando area. So it was perfect symmetry for me to just go ahead and get into real estate. So it just made total sense. And we just walked right in the door, right behind each other, with getting our licenses.
That's amazing.
So
I love that story. And right from the start, as you mentioned, Pam, is you were getting your family business built. You were exposing your daughters. Are they both their twin daughter? Okay. You were exposing your daughters to the real estate business, taking them with you, and that's beautiful. And now, as a couple and as a family,
Right.
that's amazing. I love hearing that.
right.
Tell us a little
Right.
bit about your current market there in the Lakeland and surrounding areas. How's your real estate market going there?
The real estate market it's a bit of a buyer's market right now. They have a lot of options. There's tons of inventory for them, so they kind of have their choice. As we know, the interest rates are hovering around 6%. For new builds or new construction, you can get even better. You can get around 4%, sometimes 3.98%. Those are the biggest sellers right now. Our new construction, where we are right now in our community, they have a phase 2 that's opening. And Ryan's Homes and Highland Homes are the builders, and they're doing very well because it
Yeah, I've
just
heard of them.
makes total
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Especially with Lakeland. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go.
Okay.
Go.
With Lakeland being one of the top cities, and that's kind of what moved us from Orlando to Lakeland.
Mhm.
It's his
My hometown is here.
And so I want to say we had baby number 4. By baby number 4.
This is gonna be the fertile podcast now, is what you're gonna the fertile podcast. How to grow your family and your business.
Check these decisions. You'll see a theme here. So we had baby number 4, and we were living in Orlando. I think we moved.
We had bought a second home.
We sold that first home that I told you about. We kind of outgrew that one.
Right.
Bought a second.
We sold that one and bought a second one. I want to say we moved into a little rental to transition, and a week later my water broke with him. And
my goodness.
I think I was nesting. I don't know why I moved so close to, my due date, but I was just ready to move. I needed a bigger space, and we found a home. I wanted an 8-school district. We found a nice home that had everything we were looking for, but then COVID
ties in a lot.
And I got sick really bad, and my husband was by himself. He was by himself taking care of the kids. And so it dawned on us like, yeah, we have this wonderful home, this nice home, wonderful community. We had everything we wanted, but family
but family.
to support.
And
Because if you are familiar with Florida, you know
Yeah.
I-4
Yep.
is the worst, the worst road actually
Could be a
ever built.
nightmare. Yeah.
They've been building it forever, so
we had our eye on this market, seeing that I'm born here and from here, and my family's here. So we were able to sell, I guess, sell high in Orlando
yeah,
and
Perfect.
low
buy low, but a new construction
in Lakeland. Because it was like the #1 selling city, growing city in the country. At that time, and we're still slated to probably have a couple of million people still move here.
in this area.
Wow.
And that's what all the builders are flooding here. We're still trying to preserve the natural nature, here, because that's what makes Lakeland beautiful.
Yes.
But they are picking plots of land and securing plots of land as well that'll still keep Lakeland beautiful and country. Why people want to move here is it's right in the middle. You have Tampa on one side, you have Orlando on the other, and then you have nice, quaint Lakeland in the middle. And so it's a growing market, and it's still a growing market, which is why new builds are probably your top sellers here, because it's very hard to compete with their interest rates. Although you guys do a phenomenal job,
Right.
actually.
We try, yeah.
And helping clients close.
And I'll just do a short story to brag on her of us getting to this market here in
Yes.
Lakeland. She was eyeing the market here in Lakeland once we figured it's the end of 2020 or nearing the end of 2020, and she's eyeing the market, and she goes on the MLS and she finds a house that we want here in Lakeland, and she's like, "Hey, EJ, I can't believe this. The home that we're looking for is I can secure this for $99."
What?
Now there's more to the story. So I get on the phone, I call my dad who lives in Lake, and I said, "Dad, I'll pay you back next week. Go take $100 over to the Highland Home community, and we're gonna secure that home." Long story short, that was an error on their end. They weren't supposed to put that on there for $99.
I can imagine.
For a different community, you're talking about a 2,500 square home, 5-bedroom home that we secured for $100 because of Detective Joe and over here. And we were able to secure that home in that 2.3% at that time. You're talking about early 21.
Yeah.
The market,
yeah.
the market here was excellent. So we pinch ourselves every day, about making that decision, and it's about timing. Like she said in the earlier question, the price of waiting, it's the timing. Market is about timing too, and we pinpointed that thing right on.
Yeah, I could see that Lakeland at the time was below, it was at a lower than average market price. So I knew that this was the opportunity, and I had to convince them, because I'm like, this is our second home. We just moved into this home.
Right.
But I said, okay, one more move, and I promise you this will be it for a while.
Right.
But this will be a great move. What if we go back to your hometown? He could pass. He could pass
He's
that
like,
off.
sure.
I'm a great negotiator, by the way.
I can tell.
Yeah.
So I was able to get us a brand new home for cheaper than the home that we had just moved into
at 2.3.
Because a year later I can't predict. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah,
but just
right.
at market trends, I could see, okay, this is slated to be the top growing city in the country. We have a slew of people moving here.
Let's get in here.
Supply demand. You remember how that was in those last couple of years. We got to get in there now. So
absolutely,
this is our market right now, is accommodating a lot of people from out of the state, out of towners too, because South Florida, the market, that's where my mom is from. It's, I won't liken it to California, but it's like they have these houses, this beautiful location, but I've
seen them. They're beautiful, but they're
Yeah, his prices are up
It's
there.
$1 million homes, you know, and I could probably fit her home in my backyard, you know. So like
So
it's like, you know, people are flocking because they want that affordability. Everybody's looking for affordability here.
market
So
is good.
we're still affordable here in Polk County.
Market is good here.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great to hear. And you know, you mentioned you started to do this stuff through and while there's a pandemic going on, right? And even when there were times when there were health issues going on, right? And so one of the questions that I like to ask is, and during this time, you're trying to work your real estate business, like everything's happening
Right.
at one time. What
Right.
pivots or adjustments did you have to make in your business to stay afloat? Now, I feel a story coming on.
I can. I'll go ahead and start that.
Okay.
So the pivot was. So the pivot was by 21 we had 4 at that point.
Right? I was counting them. I'm writing them
And
down.
Right, yeah, keep up.
So the pivot was by 21 we thought we're good. We're pretty solid.
Rocking and rolling.
Rocking and
everything
rolling.
was solid.
And number 5.
You quit your job.
I quit. Yes. So the pivot, the pivot was
He's doing so good. He quit his job.
quit my job. We were rocking and rolling and with the real estate and quit my job and we're full bore. We got videos and marketing and everything like that. And the good Lord said, hold on, my son, hold on, my daughter. You guys have another blessing coming. And so at the top of 22, now we find out number 5's on the way.
Number 5.
So
Wow.
number 5. And so that's the pivot because what it pushed me to do is maintain the real estate, of course. But then I also went into education. And so teaching. So I'm also a teacher. I teach at Polk State College as well, in addition to the real estate.
Teach business.
I teach business and civics, and I have a couple college courses that I teach as well on the campus. And so it allowed us to pivot there, but also maintain the real estate being here in our hometown where people know us and trust us and know our family.
And so that's the biggest pivot was whereas we were trying to scale for growth, when that life change happened, and I mean, that happened at the end of a heck of a year. 2021,
I can imagine.
in 2021, I actually lost 3 relatives.
Oh.
My father was the first, my grandmother, my cousin, all in 1 year. And it was a very hard year, but we pushed through. And then come 2022, we're like back on the rise and
here we
ready
go.
to get back. And then you have I mean, it wasn't expected, but it was a blessing all in all because it's another boy. Now my son has a brother, you know, but it just rocked us. So it forced us to pivot where we were gonna grow like this.
Yeah.
We kind of we took our focus and made it more organic and spirit influence. So our spirit is where a majority of our business comes from. And you learn that in training, but it doesn't really hone in until you have to start making some changes because the people that you just meet off the street, they will work with you, but then they have a million other realtors they can work with this. So our pivot was more so let's focus on who we already have, who we've sold with, who bought home already. Let's prove our loyalty and our worth, our value to them. And it just kind of grew that way. Whereas we more so we're more so like helping the community, or help our friends and help our family, and we educate small groups and small circles, because that education is like the number one pillar for our business. Is even if you don't use us, we want to make sure that you are informed every step of the way, because I've heard so many stories. We have our own stories of people who just weren't aware, or now they have this, and it was as simple as just tell me.
And
You
Yeah.
have knowledge. I'm depending on you to just tell me.
and we treat
Yeah.
and we treat every client gets treated the same.
No matter
No
the
matter if
budget.
it's $600,000 budget or $200,000 budget, you're still getting the full service. And I always say you don't just get one agent, you get two. And so you get that perspective. So that's how we handle any clients we encounter. So it was very organic how that happened with our pivot.
And we shifted towards your background. I have a background in the property management too.
Yep.
That was my job before I resigned to stay with
Oh,
the kids.
okay.
So, but he was a general manager, like over the entire property, whereas I was a AGM.
Right.
So in decades of
Mhm.
experience
Right.
in that. So we said, you have the experience.
Right.
Let's work,
Yeah.
let's focus in this arena. You
Yeah.
know, this
Yeah.
is where you have a lot of experience. I mean,
That makes so
So,
much sense.
know.
And, EJ, you mentioned education, and
Mhm.
it brought something to mind. Do you and your business education type in the colleges,
Mhm.
are you finding that very much, or that there's any education being given to help the students understand the home buying process, financial things, how to get
Mhm.
prepared for it? Just kind of curious about that.
It's, I would say not as much, but those that are seeking that or who want to take some sort of business or real estate course, those are the people that will look after it. But in
Hmm.
my business courses, my entrepreneur course and my personal finance course, I absolutely I will bring up a listing on the big screen.
Beautiful.
I will bring up a listing on the big screen, and I will actually have them come up and say, hey, listen, if I sell this home at 3%, I will bring home how much? And then
Right.
they do the math. Their eyes get big, and
Sure.
they're like, oh, okay, you can just make that off. I said, yeah, that's the beauty of real estate. And I said, hey, listen, I'm here teaching you, but my job is flexible where I can do both. And
Hey,
so
that's
them
great.
to have multiple
Yeah.
eggs and multiple baskets, and just to be forward thinking on other hustles, or we talk about gig economy, like the gig economy. There's
Yep.
other things that they can do, and they already have that mindset because they're tapped into the social media and TikTok and things of that
Yeah.
nature. But how can you monetize that? Okay. What is something you could be doing right now with the sphere of influence you have as a young person? People follow you. They're already watching your TikToks or
Yeah.
your what have you. Let's monetize it. So I absolutely talk about real estate all the time, and it's low key. It's another marketing opportunity for
100%.
because they can go home and say, Mr. EJ, my teacher, Mr. EJ, is actually a real estate, sell a realtor. And so
Yeah.
it's always a great talking point, and I use it for marketing as well and education
No, I
within
love
this.
that. And what that reminded me of is 2 summers ago,
Hmm.
there's a local high school here
Hmm.
in Southern California, Orange County, and they have a business program, and
Hmm.
they have their whole business program in the high school is, and they have a president, they have a vice president, secretary, treasurer, like the whole thing. There's about 250 handpicked students that belong to this business club, if you will. And some of these kids are already making six figures in high
Hmm.
school, businesses that they built on social media, YouTube, you name it. But one of the things that really hit me is that one of the students came to us, actually, the school came to us and said, hey, would you take an internship program? We're like,
Hmm.
sure. These kids are brilliant. We'd love to have them. And so how it worked out was we got this fellow named Steven. He's from
Hmm.
China and just a brilliant, wonderful kid. And he was getting ready to head to UCLA next, right? So we got him for about 2 months prior to him going to UCLA. And every day he came into our office, learned a little bit. He says, John, I'm going to get my license as a mortgage person because I can guarantee you hardly anybody at the college has either a mortgage license or a real estate license at age 18. And I thought to myself,
Mm-hmm.
I never considered that. I don't think about the colleges. So what he's doing now is he is starting his own educational webinars, and
Wow.
we're gonna help him. And basically, he says because there's limited education to my classmates, they're believe me, he says they're interested in home ownership. They're interested in investing in real estate. They just don't know how to do
Right.
it. And so we're putting together right now a webinar actually where these kids can all join in, and we're going to do something in person on the campus too. But it made me think about that because of the lack of general education around the country. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
they're fortunate enough and blessed enough to have you, EJ, and they're educating them on that, that is a blessed college. But it's
Right.
very
Right.
few and far between of what's happening, and there's just so much opportunity. So I'm thrilled to hear what you're doing with that because you're doing a good thing.
Yeah, and we talk about value. We talk about the value of money. Where does your value lie? We can talk about cars and clothes and things of that nature, but let's shift and maybe think of a mindset of something that's going to give us a return. And so I tell them those things outside of the entrepreneurial things like, hey, it's okay to have nice things and aspire to those things. Let's think about stuff that's going to gain us equity. All right. You guys can be homeowners at a young age. You start thinking about it right now, and it's an investment for you. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to shift gears just a little bit because this really gets speaks back to the theme of our
mhm.
podcast here is the mindset of a
Right.
champion. And after hearing your beginnings, your pivots, your new additions to
Hmm.
your family, and all the things you've done so far, both of you are clearly champions, not only as parents first, actually husband and wife first, parents, and now giving back to the community the way you do. You're champions. And this is an opportunity now. I always like to ask this question is what does having the mindset of a champion mean to you? And more importantly, how does that impact your daily routine as you're, helping people? So what's it mean to you? And then, what do you do on a daily basis to be a champion?
Well, and then I'll let you go because you talked about this. We first of all we keep our foundation in Christ and our faith. So that's
Amen.
the first mindset of us being a champion is that that's the basis of everything for our family is our faith. And so we start with that. And then the championship mindset we said is based on what you define. What is a championship mindset to you? Ours is always and always will be family first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was something I had to learn when I tend to put a lot on my plate. And I've learned because a lot of people don't even know this with everything else going on. I'm actually in nursing school
In nursing
too.
school too.
Of course you
Yeah.
are.
So,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
just on spring break right now.
Mhm.
So in my free time, I go get more degrees.
Mm.
But it's about something that I learned was your family is your first ministry.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
So you could have everything, but if the kids that you brought into this world don't contribute to
Mhm.
society or don't, do anything to help make this world a better place, did you win?
Mhm.
Did you win
Mm,
anything? And so I
mhm.
had to learn to step back. And that's why we tag team. That's why this is a team because
Mhm.
he keeps it going. I'm in the background doing this, or I'm in the forefront, he's in the background making sure the kids are okay. And that's how this team works. And then the champion mindset is just to never give up
Never
either.
give up.
We're never going to stop doing what we're doing in real estate. And even if it's slow and steady, or there's a lot to handle, we just never give up, and we never give up on our clients either.
No.
We always try to have a meeting with every single client to see what their goals are. We make sure that they are realistic, and then we work towards those goals.
Right.
And so it's the mindset of making sure you take care of your family first. If that doesn't work, if that fails, then
Right.
no matter how much you win, it doesn't
Right.
really matter. You don't have the
Right.
people to enjoy it
Right.
with. You don't have the legacy to pass on.
Mhm.
Kids aren't gonna be interested in real estate if
No
you
way.
never was there, were there for them.
Yeah.
So share family first and just never give up. You have a goal, work towards it. And lastly, your only competitor is yourself.
Correct.
Hmm.
Social
Very
media
true.
has a good way. It has a good way. Social media has a good way of making you compare yourself to others.
Sure
And
does.
it can lead to a mindset of like you're not good
You're
enough.
not.
We have
Yeah.
to realize not everything you see is real,
Right.
and your only competitor is yourself.
Correct.
Did you do better than you did yesterday?
Right.
Did you
Yeah.
do better than you did last year?
Right.
And just work towards what can I do to be better?
Did I add value to somebody's life? And I do say that every morning when I do pray, every morning is that just allow me to be of help to somebody in
Mm.
some way, or a student or someone in some way. It could be the person at the grocery store. It could be a student looking to needing something printed or needing some advice. We just want to add value, help someone today. All right. Just any situation we can encounter. And so that means a lot to us.
No, that's
Mhm.
beautiful. And, that's it really resonates with me because my wife and I think the same way. We start off our day, we have our time, and we end up the day with our time as well. And, she's a professional hair and makeup artist. So she does those types of things, but she's very involved in growing my business as well. We have about 30 loan officers all throughout the country, licensed in Florida, Texas,
Right.
Georgia, California, Arizona. And so, it keeps me pretty busy. I have one of my best friends is the owner of the company. He's the broker, and I have about 10 loan officers that work under me under on my team. So it keeps me going throughout the day, helping
Right.
them and making sure they have the right
Wow.
mindset as well. But when it comes down to it, it's my wife and I, it's our God and I, and
Yeah.
us, and everything else falls into place. And even
Right.
when things look like they're falling apart a little bit, you know
Right.
what? We go back to our basics. We take my wife's hand and we pray together and we say, we got this through his
Right.
help. And another day happens and the sun comes
Correct.
out and
Yeah.
something miraculous generally happens, right?
Yeah.
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 Things that
It
we don't
does.
even think about. We're like, I never considered
Yeah.
that. Well,
Yeah.
that's why we leave it in his hands
Absolutely.
and we just do the work
Yes.
that he tells us to do, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
There's one story that I would love to just touch on briefly, and it really it impacted both um, us, you, and that is with our mutual client.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little story about Sweet Toiletta,
Yeah.
and you probably know what happened on my side. Basically, um, there's a wonderful family. It's a husband and
Right.
wife couple as well,
Right.
Yoremi and Julio, right?
Right.
And had you ever met that couple before, that real estate couple out of Tampa
No.
area? Okay.
Mm-mm.
No.
So how I'll tell you my version of it, and you can fill in the details. I'm sure that I never even knew. So I met them through social media. We did a beautiful podcast together. We took them out to get some lender training and some real estate training
Right.
just recently, last month. And she calls me and says, John, we got this client. I don't know if you can help them or not. Here's, working with Lennar and all of this. And I go, well, Lennar's got their own mortgage stuff. Everything goes through you can't even hardly get
Yeah.
in their door. She says, they can't handle this one. This one's too complicated, whatever. Can you do something? And I started to look at everything. I went, ooh, this is going to be a challenge. I says, let's
Mhm.
go. Let's go.
Right.
This
Right.
is a person we're talking about. She
Right.
deserves every little thing we can possibly do.
Right. Right.
We're gonna have to pull out all the stops on this one. And I can tell you both that we had a lot of stops and a lot of
Right.
challenges on this because, as you know, her finances, her rebuilding that she was doing, like
Yes.
every little plug of the way,
Right.
there was a roadblock, and we either had
Right.
to go through it, over it, around it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when she thought, I mean, we got down to it where we're good, okay. And now we got a
Yeah.
money thing at the end. And here comes, I mean, I was praying, Toy
I
was
know. I
praying,
appreciate you
you were
doing that,
praying.
John. Yeah. Yeah. We were all praying.
Man, I'm telling you. And I remember this specifically on a Friday. She called me, says, John, I'm ready to give up. And I says, I understand why you would do that. I says, what I recommend, take the weekend, pray
Hmm.
about it, talk to your family, talk to your agents, and
Hmm.
let's talk on Monday. I says, I'm going to pray
Hmm.
about it too, because if this is not the right home for you at the right time,
Hmm.
then he'll direct it. Let's just leave it all to him. And
Hmm.
so we did that. She calls me up Monday morning. She says, John, I made my decision. God is telling me to keep going. Let's
Hmm.
finish this. And man, I
Hmm.
tell you what, whew, I had to take a moment because that was impactful, right?
Yeah.
That's impactful. And I
Yeah.
thought to
Yeah.
myself, I says, good Lord, okay, we're doing this. And so let's figure out how to get rid of this money issue and solve this thing. Here comes her
Hmm.
sister. Wow. Here comes her sister. She has a conversation with me. Says, John, what do you need? I says, this is what we need. She goes, I can do that. And then we
Hmm.
had a couple little roadblocks with getting her monies
Hmm.
set to come out of it, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Which and then we got the seller saying we're gonna charge you,
Yeah.
and we're gonna go
Hmm.
1%
Yeah.
on her and this and that. And I'm thinking, oh God,
Yeah.
please don't do this to her because this could be
That
another
The
that was my
knives were
showstopper.
out.
reaction.
The knives were out.
I knew it. Yeah.
She was saying, I hope they don't try to do this or change the
Oh,
terms.
they
Because
were
I know that builder. I know that builder. So it's like,
they were doing it. I got all the
Hmm.
messages saying, I'm sorry, that's it. We're charging 1%, $300 a day.
Hmm.
And I must have had 4 or 5 phone calls starting here, going all the way to the top saying, look, guys, we're almost there. This,
Hmm.
this human soul deserves this beautiful property that you guys have
Hmm.
put a lot of time and effort into. We
Right.
have, their agents have. Give her just a little bit more time. And out of the
Hmm.
kindness of your heart, please do not charge her extra money. She
Yeah.
doesn't deserve that. And I got back a message that says, we're still going forward. And I thought, please, Lord, we prayed some more. And next thing I know, I get a message back from Title that says, you know what? In talking with the builder, they're not going to charge. Just please, when are we closing? And that's what I went, that's all you.
That's all. That's
So
all we
that was
all.
from my side. I know you have been living this story too.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we
yeah,
were just trying to be encouraging. We were on the other side, and being supportive too, because as we
Yeah.
told you from the onset, we're not the pushy salesman type.
Yeah.
Um, if it's not in the cards or this is not something you're comfortable with, we'd rather have a long relationship with you
Yes.
than try to use you as a one-time transaction for our benefit. And so we said, hey, reflect, but we're with you 100%, maybe 2027, and we're here. And we'll go back to the drawing board if we need to. But I think your prayers, everyone's
yeah.
prayers,
You are a miracle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Yes,
are.
yes. And so I think those prayers coincided, and it ended up working out beautifully all the way up until getting the keys. I called you, John. I said, John, I don't know
I,
what to do, but
I was, I was beside myself because I thought, okay,
we
and,
closed.
yeah, we're done. And I had sent all the messages. I got messages back. We got her. We'll get her keys, this and that. I'm like, great. And here I am. I'm also calling the Lennar agent rep, who
Yeah.
I'm getting this signal when you
Yeah.
call. I'm like, oh, that's an out of the country
Yeah.
dial.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that dial. And I'm
Yeah.
texting and texting. I'm like, you were blowing up my phone before, but
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that we're closed, what's going
Yeah. Yeah.
on? And I was,
Yeah.
the ending part of that service train was not acceptable.
No,
And
no.
I just and ah, that was you look at those things, you're like, oh God. And I sent them back a little synopsis. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your extra kindness in there. But the closing part really needed some love.
Yeah.
It was not
Yeah.
it was not a good experience.
He a little TLC.
yeah.
We a little
You did the
TLC.
same thing too, didn't you?
What's that?
An email.
Yeah,
you
just kind of like,
communicated.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Always thank you for the transaction. But if I could share and just leave it
Yeah,
at that
right.
and
Whether
go
we
from
hear
there.
anything about it, we did our due diligence, and you
Mhm.
know,
you know, you always, one thing my dad always said, you always want to leave a situation in a manner in which you can return.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And so it's too small of a world, regardless of the bad taste. We may have to come back around
Yeah.
and do business together. And maybe it'll be a redemption arc with that next situation. So that's just how we handle it
absolutely.
above
Yeah,
board.
absolutely. Well, I have one final question for both of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And, we've all gone through a lot of stuff, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of other agents and lenders and people in business that
Mhm.
are, trying to figure out what should I do? Whether let's say they're a new real estate agent, or perhaps they've been in it for quite a while. Should I stay in this field? What can I
Mhm.
do to be successful? And so I ask
Mhm.
that to you. What advice would you have for others to be successful or stay successful in 2026 and beyond?
I'll give my portion of it. I like to say I deal a lot in the people side of it. And so it's all relationships to me. And my favorite quote is people don't care how much you know until
No,
they know how much you care.
that's right.
And so, we like to build a relationship with the client. How's your father? How's your mom? How is your son or daughter? And things and I think that's pivotal to the success, because if you don't have any buy-in, if they don't think you care, they don't want to do any business with you.
Yeah,
Okay, because they think, hey, this is just a transaction or a
that's
number.
right.
We're just a number to them, and we really, really hone in on, you're not just a number
Mhm.
to us. We want to know how you're doing, how's family, and then we can start talking about how that coincides with the real estate transaction or your goals. And funny as it may, we have a meeting tomorrow with a client that we helped close on a home a couple years ago. Now they're ready to do some investment work. So because of the relationship we've built with them, they're willing to come back around, and it's just big. It's bigger than just a transaction, is what I'll say. Is how you make it successful. Make it
I
bigger than
love
that.
that. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it's funny because you said that, and I'm just used to just checking in with the clients. And so when she did message us, I didn't think it was about real estate at all.
And I said, sweetheart, it's probably about business.
I
I was
didn't
telling
think
you.
so. I thought she was giving me an update on something. So that's just really the mindset that we have, and that we would tell people. It is very easy, it's very lucrative, and it's very easy to lose sight of the people aspect
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
of what you're doing, because it can just become transactional. You can be very good at it. Like he's the people side of it. I'm like the informative book side of it. Like he'll tell you, like, I can pull up something. Well, I don't think that's in the contract. If you look at this section, and that's how I was able to secure our home, because
Right.
I know the laws,
Yeah,
which is, I'm not
you
a
did your
anything like
research.
that, but I do my research and I try to make sure I'm informed so that we can have the best outcome because there's a lot of times people overlook the little small
Oh, yeah.
paragraph of the fine print, and that's going to really take you a long way if you pay attention. So I'm that person, like I said, in the background, I'm always looking, I'm always researching and always making sure we covered all our bases, T's crossed, I's dot. So I'm going to say he gave the people advice. I'm going to say always stay sharp. Stay informed, stay up to date on your business, on your market.
Right.
I mean, the easiest thing, they send you a magazine every month, read the magazine they send you, but just always keep it fresh. Keep your mind fresh. So that you're on top of it, so that you can be an asset to the people that you are working with.
Marketing, you're putting the money in the marketing. You need to equal that, or sometimes 2x that on the people side. And I'm telling you, your business will grow even without you even trying. People will reach out to you because a friend of a friend of a friend had a wonderful experience, and that's how you grow it. They'll remember how you treated them.
Yes, that's right.
They may remember how much they may not even remember how much they put down on the home.
That's right.
But they will remember how did Pam, how did EJ make me feel during this process, the ebbs and flows of a real estate transaction.
That is so true. And, to piggyback on that, it's with, I'll ask somebody maybe 5 months later, 6 months later, hey, how's things going? You getting all settled in, this and that. And I'll say, hey, by the way, what's your interest rate? And they pause or like, I don't remember, but I think you got me a good one, right?
Yeah.
But when I asked them about the experience and the process and how they were feeling, now they can tell me. So to your point, it's all about the relationship. It's about how you leave people feeling, not necessarily about the individual little things, how much they put down and all those, which are important details. But now what they're going to go tell people is, man, Pam and EJ, they took the best care of me. They held my hand through the whole process. They talked me out of the tree when they needed to,
Right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, I cannot thank you both enough. Pam and EJ, thank you so much for joining today's podcast, The Mindset of a Champion. We know what sets you apart: your love, your passion, your diligence, the way you educate and hold your client's hand. You are champions. And as parents of 5, that's a beautiful thing. And as God-fearing family members too, that's the most important. So again, thank you so much for joining today, and really wish you both the most success 2026 and beyond.
Thank you. God bless you,
Thank
brother.
you.